The hell's going on? It's all jerky and weird. Right, I've got to take this off so I put it on my stand. There we go. It's all jerky. What's going on? What's going on? Hope it doesn't cut me off. You know, like it does sometimes. I noticed in my last live stream there's like whole chunks of me talking missing, and it just like skips ahead. But that was when I was out and, you know, using data rather than Wi-Fi. Anyway, so I'm gonna make this a short-ish live stream because I just want to say that it is abysmal the way people around here treat me. I've been told I'm a very nice person by people on here and other people who don't live around here. But for some reason, all the people from around here, not all the people obviously, but like it seems like quite a few over the years, treat me as if I am public enemy number one. I'm like this really horrible person, and I'm like a rehoused criminal or something. Because you know how people treat like rehoused criminals, like they come out of jail and they house them, and then they get like kids in the area sort of get to know that they're a criminal, and then they come and like they egg the houses and harass them and stuff. Well, that's how I'm being treated. I'm being treated, and my mum back in the day when she was involved too, have always been treated like we're rehoused criminals or something. Like we've not done anything to the people around here. Like I have heard stuff from my mum that in the very beginning when we first moved here, the neighbours, like the immediate neighbours on this end of the street, they were angry because this is a vicarage, and the vicar pretty much sold up and left, and for some reason moved only next door. I don't know why, but I believe it's because this house was haunted at the time, and I guess they were being, you know, haunted a lot, and they had to move, and they sold it cheap. So my mum just found this house in the paper for sale, and it was going cheap. It was a lovely house. It was going cheap. It was a lovely house, you know, and just bought it. But the people, apparently, according to my mum, because someone actually said it. Oh God, these people again. Shut up! I told you I'm not doing that anymore. That's not what this live stream is about. I'm trying to talk about something serious here, especially in case the people from around my area see this video, because I think that they need to know that the way they treat me is not acceptable. You know, if you don't want to be, you know, seen for being the assholes that you are, I suggest stop treating me like rubbish. So anyway, I don't do that anymore because my channel's a serious channel, and I'm trying to lose weight because, you know, I think I look better, you know? So stop asking me these questions. Anyway, as I was saying before, so rudely interrupted. I've noticed I'm getting more of those bloody comments now. I thought all the perverts and weirdos has fucked off my channel. No offense. Some of you perverts and weirdos are very nice, but I kind of feel like, you know, the majority of my viewers just like me for my belly, and I don't really like that. So I'd rather them like me for my, you know, my opinions and shit, you know, my mind, my talents, whatever, you know. It's the lifelong struggle, you know. Like me for my mind, not my body, sort of thing. And even though I'm trans male, it still applies to me. Anyway, so back on track before people lose interest. So we've heard that the people from around here thought that we kicked out the Reverend, and they weren't happy about it. That's what I believe the initial story and the initial reason for people not liking, at the time, my mum. You know, and then a bit later on, obviously that was not true, you know, like I say, they're the ones who decided to sell up and leave, and we just came here because we saw the house in the paper, and it was going cheap, and it was a nice house, and obviously my parents were looking for somewhere to live. And then a few years like later, the local hooligans, so I'm presuming there was chit chat between probably their parents, like about how terrible people, that's what they assumed. Well, they, like I say, they just see the Reverend leave and us like move into the vicarage. So of course, you know, in their mindset, it's like, well, we're not going to find out what actually happened. We're just going to judge these people, because that's how people are around here anyway. I don't know about anywhere else, but around here, the people are quick to judge you without knowing the full story. So that's what this video is about. It's basically the old saying that don't judge a book by a cover. It's like that. In this case, it's not a cover as in, you know, what we look like, more as like what they think that we're supposed to have done that's bad or whatever. Well, I don't actually know. People had cause to be up in arms because he's gone, and they liked him. He was still like next door, in the vicarage next door. So I don't actually know why. This is the Reverend that lives. Like, obviously, this was like millions of years ago now. So I'm not talking about the current Reverend, by the way. There's been like, I think 2 other Reverends since the original one, and it's the original one I'm talking about. Before anybody thinks I'm talking about the current one, because I'm not talking about the current one, because this happened many, many, many years ago, when the very first Reverend was here, and then moved next door. So anyway, I'm having a bit of problem with my lungs and heart, so forgive me if I have a little break from talking to catch my breath. So that was the initial like reason why people hated us. Or should I say my mum in the beginning, because obviously I was an innocent little child, so they didn't really blame me, I guess, but they blamed my mum, and I say my mum, because then years later my dad left, and you know, then the local kids got to find out about that. So on top of people probably giving it this probably in front of the kids, and the kids are like, right, you know, they're enemies, let's go get them, or whatever it is that they did in the beginning. Like, that was millions of years ago again, and we've been harassed like up until like now, to this day and age, this day. So it's like, I don't know what beef they have with me now, but it's me now instead of my mum, because she's not as involved, because she's always like hidden, because she's disabled, so she doesn't go out anymore as much. Like, she goes out occasionally, but it's so rare that the people don't see her. So of course, you know, people don't give her a hard time. They give me a hard time because I'm seen out more. So of course, so in the beginning it's because, oh, you know, single parent with a child living in a big house. So it's like that made us targets. And then it was, I guess they found out I was homeschooled, so then of course they judged me. They judged me for being homeschooled, and there must be something wrong with me. And they judged my mum because they think, you know, you're not qualified, and they think you're not, you know, my mum's not looking after me properly. So, and then of course we get reported for like a million things. First it was this incident that happened where my mum got falsely accused of shit again. Then it was, oh, you're not being like looked after properly, so they reported my mum for being like neglectful of me at the time, which she wasn't. She was like the best mum ever. I know she does yell at me a lot now, but you know, back then, although she was put under a lot of stress with all the people fucking reporting us and all the fucking kids harassing us and shit, but she was always a nice, good mum to me. She treated me real good. 11 or 12, somebody decided to report my mum to the LEA, the local education authority, and of course we got hounded about that. And even when my mum proved that she was educating me properly, they still continued to hound us. Oh, the RSPCA, was that before or after that? I can't remember which came first. I think it was we got reported, and they hounded my mum for a long time, even after again they proved that, you know, my mum was looking after the dog that we had at the time real good. And you know, he had a great life, and he just had allergies and problems. And of course, they were still determined. This particular woman, Patsy Shepherd, was absolutely determined to get my mum on animal neglect. So we got hounded about that for a while. Then we got hounded about my education later on. And again, we proved that the dog was well taken care of. We proved that I was being educated properly, but they still continued to hound us. And it actually made life really stressful for us at the time. And I actually stopped wanting to learn. I hated it because of all this stress my mum was put under. Of course, when she was educating me, it was stressful and it was no longer fun anymore. So I kind of stopped wanting to learn because I was stressed. So they actually made things worse by doing what they did. And then, of course, you know, we get harassed and hounded by the local hooligans for fucking years after that as well. So since I was about 10, we've been harassed by the hooligans. I think I'm going to sit down, actually. I don't feel so good. It kind of comes and goes. It's weird. It's like it's like pains in my lungs. not my chest, my actual lungs, and it's making it really hard to sort of talk or get exasperated very quickly. It's not very nice, really. I feel kind of shaky and weird. So sorry about that. I've got to catch my breath every now and again. I'm not a well man, you know. Not a well man. I am a sickly man. I am a sickly man. Actually, somebody on Instagram said that I look like I'm sick. Maybe they're right. They asked me if I had COVID. At first I thought they were being nasty, but maybe they're being like serious. Maybe I do look sick. I'm not really sick that I know of, but I don't feel so good lately. Like I've been feeling good, but now I feel like this, which is weird. My heart's been doing these funny thumpy things lately, and now today it's sort of milder than it has been. It's not freezing cold, but it's still cold, you know. So you are wearing a thin coat. I know. Naughty me. I just thought, oh, I'll be too hot if I wore a bigger coat. But she's probably right. The reason why I'm wearing this is because it's Valentine's Day month, so I'm trying to like dress more Valentine's-y, like with pinks and purples and stuff. I don't have a pink coat or a red coat or anything, so I went with pink and purple. I'm gonna talk to the doctor soon about this problem, of course, but it's too late now. They're shut, so I'm gonna have to wait until to look it up online. I also got sent a link which now doesn't work. I'm gonna look it up on the medical thing, the medical practice website. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Although I have looked before and couldn't find it, but I'm gonna try again in case I got the wrong website. Anyway, sorry about the interruption for my health problems. I'm just letting you know that if I take breaks, it's because of this weird feeling that I'm feeling. Hello, big boss. Hi. I'm just telling that's how I know they watch my content. So yeah, so from about 10 years old onwards, me and my mum have been harassed by the local kids that we call the local hooligans. And now they call them the Wolfie people. Because they keep saying Wolfie. Every time I see them, they say Wolfie, so I call them the Wolfie people because they say that. I don't call them all the Wolfie people, just the ones who keep saying Wolfie. And I know I've talked about this many times before, but as I've discovered, a lot of my subscribers and viewers act like I've never talked about a certain thing when I've talked about a certain thing many times before. So I might have talked about this many times before, but a lot of people haven't seen it. And local people, I don't think look at all of my videos, but I thought if with the title we might watch this one. So just to bring it to their attention that they're treating me badly, unjustifiably, which is a load of Myers. So yeah, this town you see, it went up the Maya years ago. I heard that word on a film the other day and now I just keep using it. I don't know what the hell it means, but it just sounds good. So I keep using it now. It'd be cool if you guys. Anyway, so shit. I'm just remembering something. I've got my mum saying it as well. She loves the word. I also heard it on another thing the other day as well, but it was said in a different context, like someone having Maya or something. I'm like, what? What does that mean? Anyway, so so I've been harassed for many years to this day, and of course, again, because my mum isn't really as involved as she used to be, which is probably good for her. You know, she's like under the radar now. She's like stays in all the time and doesn't have, you know, contact with the local people as much. So she isn't the one that bears the brunt of all the harassment and shit anymore. But because I'm still going out there, I do. Still occasionally. So I can't say us anymore when I say harass us. It used to be us, but now it's just me. So after that, then they started, when I was like 10, 11, 12 sort of thing, 13, like teenager, they started accusing my mum of being a witch because she wore black and because we live in this big house. Even though this house is not really, I wouldn't say it's really witchy. Like, it's not the stereotypical witchy kind of house. But they just
thought, you know, that my mum was a witch. They never like talked about me being a witch, but they kept calling my mum a witch. But I assume that they thought I was a witch too because I was her child, so. But they never called me a witch though. But I remember one time I made this friend who lived like that end of my street. So the hooligans all come from that end of the street. But so I went that end of the street where this friend of mine lived, and she brought me to her like sort of area for the first time because it's like a whole like area down there, and there's all like it's got like a set of kids that played there all the time. And when she brought me there was all these kids playing, and when they saw me they instantly recognized me and they started chanting witch, witch, witch at me. So I'm like, wow, they've never called me a witch before. They call my mum a witch but not me. And then it's like, apparently they think I'm a witch too. But then they sort of like, they didn't do anything. Like I was stood there because my friend went in her house. For some reason I wasn't allowed in. For some reason, I don't know why. But she just left me outside, being ignored. I was very shy at the time and I felt very uncomfortable. I didn't know what to do, so I just stood there like watching. But they didn't do anything. And I just waited for my friend to come out. And then when my friend came out, we just all played together and they were all fine with me. So I had all these friends from down that end. But, you know, that was just like, oh, that was apparent that they thought I was a witch. But then they didn't, you know, they kind of like forgot about that, and then they were like my friends and they were nice to me and accepted me as one of their own. So I played with them for a while. Then my friend moved, and then that was it. Like I didn't come round anymore. But then years later, when I was about 13 or 13, probably late 13, this girl came that lived down there, and she came with her friend, and they looked over the wall, and I thought that they were like the hooligans come to harass me. And they said, it's okay, we're not going to hurt you. And then they said, come and talk to us. But they wanted to talk at the gate, so I was a bit, I didn't want to go down there. Not because of them, but because I thought I'd not been down there for so long because, you know, whatever. Because I didn't like going down there. I thought there'd be like loads of webs down there by now. And when I was hesitant, they were like, oh, you know, don't be afraid, we're not going to hurt you. You know, like I'm not scared of you. But I went down there anyway, cautiously. There was two reasons I didn't want to go down there. One is I actually genuinely, because I had a phobia of webs back then. I still do. I hate them. I don't like the way they feel. Like if I walk through one, it goes in my face. It's like, it makes me go funny. So I thought, so that was one thing. And the other thing, I was in my nightwear, and back then it was like, that was back when it was not acceptable to wear your nightwear, like be seen in your nightwear. Like it was okay to wear your nightwear around your house, but like it was unacceptable to be seen even in your own garden or whatever. So I was a little nervous about going down there wearing that. But now of course people go out in it, so it's, and I was called weird wearing my nightwear. And there was this girl, she used to go past all the time. She's a girl that always wore this denim skirt, which looked horrendous, by the way. Denim skirt. I'd hated denim skirts because they're like clingy and just look so unflattering. But she always wore it. And they went, ew, it's blah, blah, blah. My name. I'm not going to say my name. My mum said it like a million times, but oh well. For those who don't know my real name. She went, oh, I'm going to say Jeremiah because that is my name now. I'm going to say, oh, it's Jeremiah. He's always in his nightwear. And I'm like, yeah, around my own house, but you people wear. So today, the only people I'm getting on my live stream are these fat. I'm going to report it 1 minute. How do you report it? Unwanted spam. Yep, report. Fuck off. Fuck off. There we go. I reported it. So I'm just getting people going on about my belly and people spamming me. Anyway. So yeah. So this was the era when people started going out in their nightwear. Like, ew, I always in your nightwear. And I'm like, yeah, but you people wear your nightwear to go out. At least I only wear my nightwear in my own garden and house. Like, that's normal. Going out in it isn't normal. Although I've always, if I had to nip out to the shops or whatever and it was nighttime, I would just put a coat on and just have my nightwear underneath. But I would just go openly out in my nightwear and at least wear a coat over the top. Like, I had some respect. And plus it's unhygienic and gross anyway, as well as just, it's like, you don't care, it's like, So anyway, And then there was these, so I think I was about 14, I think, at this point. I was outside, and these two boys started like hanging around. They didn't look over the wall or anything, but they were hanging outside the wall. And I looked over the wall to see them. And I guess they spotted me, and they were like curious about me, and they kept like hanging around and watching for me and everything. And now at this point, I had black hair. I might have been 15 at that point, actually. Then I had black, very, very short hair, and I was wearing boys' clothes. Like, do I look like the white lady? Because they thought there was like this white lady sort of ghost person hanging around. Like I say, they thought it was like haunted and stuff. Just people automatically see a big house and they assume it's either a witch's house or it's haunted. And yeah, it used to be haunted. It used to be haunted, but it's not anymore. But it's not a spooky house, though. I mean, it's a nice, normal, like, it's a vicarage. It's not. It's kind of like a mansion, but not a mansion. Anyway, so these boys called to me and said like that. I shouted to them, I'm a boy, but I didn't go to the wall to talk to them. But then I told my mum about it for some reason because I was dead shy and I thought they were going to just be horrible and judge me. So I told my mum about it, and she went out to talk to them because she wasn't disabled back then. So she went outside to talk to them. And for some reason, they'd moved from the gate and they were sort of over there at the corner of the wall. And I looked over the wall to see them. And she was talking to them. And I couldn't hear. I was trying to hear what they were saying, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. But when my mum came back, she said that they asked about the wall or whatever because it was locked. It was always locked. It's locked right now. We've always locked it. That's to keep trespassers out. But they actually thought that the wall was built and the gate's locked to keep me in because there's something wrong with me. They're like, "Oh, is there something wrong with the damn person?" I don't know what my mum said. I'm assuming she said no. I know I know what she definitely said. She said, "Oh, the wall was built before we moved here. It was always here. So the wall, we don't know why the wall was built." Ugh. I mean, properties have walls. Like, why is that so weird to people? So, so that was that. Anyway, so I guess they were curious about me and wanted to talk to me. So my mum, I'm assuming, told me that. So I went to the corner of the wall to talk to them. And they were nice and we chatted and everything. And then that was the end of that. So there's like a couple of examples of kids like just being judgmental towards me. And my friend at the time, Vicky, she said that kids around here were saying that I'm like this young, like teenage person trapped. Sorry, no. Apparently, there was also rumors going around about me at the time that I was this old man trapped in a teenage boy's body or teenage girl's body or something. Because they didn't know what, back then they didn't know what I was, because I guess they'd heard I was a girl at some point, but I looked like a boy because I had my hair short and everything. I was dressed in boys' clothes. And whenever I talked to any of these kids, I used to tell them I was a boy, but I guess they didn't believe me. So they made up all these rumors at the time that I thought that I was an old man trapped in either a young girl's body or a young boy's body, depending on which they thought I was. So they didn't know what I was. Like, they didn't know what kind of box to put me in. They didn't know whether I was male, female, like what my deal was, why I was in here all the time, I guess. And a gate that's locked. They automatically think I'm trapped in here, and they used to ask me, like, do you ever go out? And I'm like, yes. And every single time I chatted to different ones of these kids, they used to always ask me that. When they were actually being nice to me, they said that. But they still, even after talking to me, they still had this impression that there was something wrong with me and that I was weird and I was different. And then they started harassing me. And then, like I say, they'd go from being nice to me and having a chat to being like nasty and like throwing things at me and spitting at me and then like bashing the fence in and stuff. And then, yeah, so that happened like on and off for years. It happened like mainly between when I was 10 or 11 and 15 or 16, but then it kind of died off for a while and it was quiet for a while. But then when I was about 17, it started again, like really prevalently, and then they started calling me Wolfie and stuff from 17 onwards. and then it happened. It was like really like frequently, and wrecked our property and banged the window and wrecked the gate and did all sorts of things, call me names. And I used to, when they first started doing it when I was 10 or whatever, I used to be like dead shy, so it was mainly my mum that dealt with them. And I was dead shy, so I didn't really say anything or do anything. So they didn't project their anger at me. But then when I was older, when I was about 15, 16, 17, and all those sort of ages, I didn't really want to, but I kind of forced myself to gain confidence, and I started sort of defending myself, if you will. So I started shouting at them to stop, go away, fuck off, all that sort of thing. And I sort of sometimes probably argued with them, I'm not sure. But that just encouraged them more, so. But I did that for years. Mainly because I didn't want them to think that I was scared of them or anything, or was this timid person that they could just like push over, like I wasn't a pushover. So that's why I mainly did it. But people like my mum just told me to like stop and just ignore them. That it was like encouraging them and making it worse, me sort of reacting to them. But at the time, in my mind, I was protecting my property. So I probably did kind of come across a little bit like a psychopath, but that was only because they would wind me up and goad me nasty. I would walk away and come in the house and ignore them. But they used to just hang around for ages, so I had to come out again and tell them to like fuck off and go away, or I'll call the police. So then they'd eventually go. But they'd come every day. Every day after that they'd come, and they'd start out nice, but then they'd get nasty. Even after sort of realising that I was a nice person that they could talk to. Like we had a good chat and everything. They'd still just get nasty with me. And then of course the same thing, it was like what's the word, like it was a regular occurrence, and it was just like a vicious cycle. So every day they'd come at around 4 when they knew I'd be out with the dog. Hang around before then, actually, wait for me to come out, and then they'd just like start being nice to me and say come over and talk to us and stuff, like we're your friends and shit. So I'd come over, and then the same thing again. I did reluctantly, by the way. Sometimes I would ignore them for ages and then go over, like I felt obliged to, because it's like I knew they wouldn't go away until I did. So I went over and started talking to them, and at first I didn't mind it, but then when the same thing happened every day and they'd get nasty with me, then I would go away, tell them to go away, and then come in, and then the next day they'd do the same thing and be like really nice to me and we're your friends, we want to talk to you and all that shit. And then I'd be like, the more that happened, so I just like went over there to talk to them anyway. Not like a chump or anything, like, oh, you know, like I was easily what's the word? I don't know what the word is. Like I was, oh, I can't believe I forgot the word. So annoying when you can't think of words. Gullible. That'll do. Like I was gullible and just went over there anyway. It's not that I was gullible. It's just that I didn't really want to go over because I knew what they were like from several days of it happening. But I felt just like obliged to go over and talk to them because, you know, like they just kept coming. And it's like, if they don't like me so much, like they obviously acted like they didn't like me because they get nasty. I'm like, why do they keep coming then? So I guess it was me trying to appease them by going over and talking to them, like to keep the peace, like to let them know I was friends. But like I say, they would always start it. I would always be dead sweet to them and nice and friendly, and would have a conversation-ish. The conversations would usually consist of them talking amongst themselves, or over talking me with another question before I've even had a chance to answer the first question. That was the conversation, and I hated it, to be honest. I always felt like I was outnumbered, like they would just like talk at me and scream. They would be over talking each other, screaming over each other. And I felt like they weren't really listening to me. I felt like they were just wanted to hear their own voices, and then when I tried to answer them, they just like over talk me and stuff. So I didn't really enjoy talking to them, but like I say, I felt like I had to until they got nasty, and then I'd be like fuck off and go away, and I'd leave. So I didn't really like talking to them, but just like felt obliged because they were always coming, and I just like didn't know how to get rid of them, really. So it was confusing. I didn't know whether to like hate them or not because they would always start out friendly. So it was really confusing for me. I felt very conflicted. And the policemen used, if we called the police on them, they would say things like, oh, why don't you just make friends with them? Why don't you try making friends with them? I'm like, I've tried. And my mum would be like, oh, why should, because they're like the hooligans. Why would you want her to be, mixed up with those types of people and become like part of the problem, I'm like, but yeah, I actually did try to make friends with them. They were the ones who rejected me. Ah, geez, at last, hey, Issa. God, nobody's been here for ages. Feels like it's just a video at this point. Yay, I missed you too. I'm just talking, just in case the local people are watching this, I'm just talking about, like, I've not gotten to my point yet, but I'm kind of building up to it, so that's why it's become like a long live stream after all. Sorry about not being online. Yeah, everybody's like not being online lately. Brad's not been online either. Everyone's been sort of absent lately. It's weird. So I was just saying about, like, over the years, about how the people around here, especially the kids, have treated me. And if you watch it back later, I've talked about specific things that have happened that I've not talked about before. Most of it's the same, but there's quite a lot that's different that I've not spoke about on here before, of specific incidents. So anyway, when I was about 15, I think it was, I got your notification. Not enemy base Morrisons, a different Morrisons. I'm not going to say which one, but I was in a Morrisons. But just like enemy base Morrisons, even when I'm on their Wi-Fi, it won't let me stream for some reason. So their Wi-Fi seems to be funny. It's a bit jerky. So that's why there was no stream. I had no connection. I was going to live stream when I got home, but I felt quite ill from the car ride because it was a long car ride, so I felt very ill. I did make videos though, so I'll probably put them up at some point. Anyway, so when I was about 15, we were being harassed by these two people that I've mentioned in the last video or live stream or whatever it was, and they reported our dog. We didn't know that at the time. We didn't know who reported it to the RSPCA about animal cruelty, just because the dog looked a bit bad because he was getting old and he had health problems. But we proved it to the, to the RSPCA that he was with a vet and he was on a special diet and everything, but they still hounded us anyway. And now we know, don't we, who it is that reported us then. This time. I don't think you guys know this, but a lot of you will know that I was confronted by a woman on my live stream where I was out and about on, local streets. And this woman confronted me and basically accused me of dog neglect because our dog is skinny. Yeah, the bad Karen woman. The disgusting meth head person. Donna. I tried to look her up, by the way, on Facebook, but I can't find her. I know she used to be on Facebook because she used to bully me on Facebook when I was 17 or 18, along with her daughter, Kirsty. So anyway. So yeah, so that was around the time when Kirsty was harassing me along with her mother and her friends, as in Kirsty's friends, not her mum's friends. And like I say, they never mentioned anything about us being cruel to the dog. But they had an auntie, obviously the sister of Donna, and we were corresponding on Facebook. And I told her about what her family was doing to me and the treatment of her family towards me. And she said she's going to get to the bottom of it and ask her niece why she was harassing me along with her friends. And she said I said to her, I said the whole deal, that he was old, he had health problems, he was under a vet, blah blah blah. So I told her about the whole deal. So I guess at some point it was all sorted out, and her daughter did come to. She didn't really apologise, but she did come to sort of make peace. And they just chatted for a bit, and ever since then, they stopped harassing us. And ever since then, even the mother, Donna, had been, she would like let on to me and smile at me in the street if she saw me. But of course, just recently, she's not been so friendly. Now, this was before they saw our current, just recent dog JD. Obviously escaped, and everybody saw the way he looked, being quite skinny, because he refused to eat, by the way, and he lost weight rapidly because he refused to eat. And but she went funny on me before that incident, and then after the incident, she'd obviously somehow seen the dog, even though she wasn't there that day when he escaped. And she had a go at me in the street, saying, "That dog's disgusting, you should take it to a vet." And I was old, and he had organ failure. There's nothing that we could have done, or they could have done. It was just how things go, it's like life goes, Dogs, animals, people, they get old, they get health problems. There's nothing much they can do for them. So she had a go at me in the street, as you know, because it's on live stream. I've made it private, but because it was such a long live stream, and the beginning of the live stream was a really nice stream, I've decided to make it private, edit it, so you just got the nice bit, and then you've got that bit separate. But I'm not sure if it's visible. I did edit it. Anyway, I made the other video private as well, because I did start saying that all the people around here were horrible and shit, and I was probably a bit harsh. But, I do think it's really unfair the way people around here have treated my mum and me over the years, and even to this day. And my message is that, this woman had no proof. They don't know us, like proper know us. They know about us and probably all the rumours that are being spread about us, that how bad we're doomed, that we are being cruel to it, we're starving it, blah, blah, blah. You need to feed it, you need to do this. And it's like, well, we're trying to feed it. If you look over there, there's a box, a big box full of all the different types of food that we tried to feed him. And treats. And corn ham, which is the only thing he would eat in the end. And then he even stopped drinking in the end, so that's when we took him to the vets. Well, at first we didn't take him to the vets at first because we just thought he'd become really fussy. And we thought eventually we'd find out when that didn't happen and he was stopped drinking, we decided to take him to the vet. That plus, my mum was reluctant to take him to the vet because people would automatically judge a skinny dog. So she was reluctant to, him to be seen out in public anyway, which happened anyway because he bloody escaped and showed him goddamn self to everybody. It's not like we're trying to hide anything. We just know what people are like around here, and that they will just automatically judge you, even if there's nothing wrong. So it might be, that might sound suspicious, like, oh, we were scared of people seeing the dog because we didn't get. But it's not about that. It's just about before they know anything about the situation. So that's the message I'm trying to say to anybody around here, my enemies, as you've decided to become. That you can't just judge a person, or book, or a situation without there being proof that, you're at fault. Like, I'm at fault in this situation. You can't just look at me and see the dog always skinny and just automatically assume we're being cruel and starving it. You don't know the situation. And I told the woman the situation, that he stopped eating and that we took him to a vet. We got him tested. They said I think it was kidney failure or something. But I'm just saying organ failure because I can't remember, but I think it was kidney because it says it on the receipt that they did blood tests for kidneys. So, so they put him down because there was nothing they could do. And I said all of this. And she asked me for the name of the vet. I told her, and she said, "Oh, I'm going to call them. Basically, I don't believe you." Why would I give you, if it was suspicious and I was lying, why would I give you the name of the vet in the first place? I would just say vets. She asked me which one. It's none of your fucking business anyway, but I gave her the name just so it didn't seem suspicious. She said she would call them, which I bet. And I told the guy the situation, and he understood. And it actually says on the record from the last time that they reported us last year about the dog before, that it was a malicious report. That it was obviously them being malicious. Because we told them the situation the last time when the two RSPCA workers came. We told them that the people around here seem to have some kind of problem with us, and they've reported this for all sorts over the years that they think they can get us for. And they've given us a hard time for no reason. They could see the dog was perfectly healthy and fine, so they put it down. It's actually on the records that it was a malicious complaint, and they've done so this time as well, because I told them the problem, and I said that this has happened before a few times, and it's always been proven that we're innocent, that everything's fine, the dogs are fine, but they continue to still hound us. And he said, and he was happy with that, and he went away and he said he was going to put on the record again that it was another malicious complaint. I hope he goes back, because I'm sure it's that Donna who reported us this time. I'm hoping he goes back to that Donna, or somebody gets back to that Donna and says there's nothing wrong with the dog, everything's fine, the situation's fine. So I want them to know that you know, that it's stupid. You know, we know that it's a malicious thing. We've got some kind of vendetta against us. It's not fair. That's why I do hope the people from around here see this. So I want people to know. I'm not saying like I say everybody around here is bad, but there are a select few that have a problem with me and my mum in the past, and that they've just spread rumours about us. And because they've got a problem with us, they report us for every little thing. Let me just read this. These comments. Worried. Okay, I was worried. I got notification. Yeah, it's okay. It's just a glitch, that was. It was a glitch. The Wi-Fi isn't very good, obviously. I was here on that stream. Yeah, I know you were. I don't understand why people are so mean and cruel to you and your mum. It's really messed up and so wrong. I know, that's why I want to call them out. Drawback on living in a small village is that people are nosy and there are plenty of rumours, which are incorrect. I wouldn't say it was like a small village, it's just like an area, but yeah, don't make judgments on other people without knowing the situation. I think those nosy people should put on their place at one without any reason. When this is played back, at least on a PC, you don't see the chat. So I'm reading out the chat. And I've been complimented recently. One of the people I talked to on Messenger, a kind of friend, I've not known her for very long, but kind of friend, has said that I'm really sweet and a really nice person. So you people really need to get to know someone before judging a book by its cover. Before judging someone, you know. Learn the situation, learn about a person, get to know a person first before hating them. Like unjustifiably hating them, you know, it's really bad. I don't know why you people do that. I don't know why these people around here have a problem. Like, it's been different things. Like I said in the beginning of this stream, people disliked us in the beginning because they thought that we kicked out the Reverend, which is not true. He moved out. We just saw the listing like normal people do and moved in. We didn't kick the Reverend out. So people had a problem with us, regular Joes, moving into a Reverend's house, even though the Reverend just lived next door. So it's not like we booted. It's not like he moved. We didn't do anything. They moved house. They put it up for sale. We bought it. You know, like normal people, not normal situations. According to Mum, that's what it was like in the beginning when we first moved here. So that was a long time ago. That was the first vicar, not the current one, obviously. That was when I was a child, little tiny toddler when we moved here. Regret it now. I wish my mum had picked a different area, different house. Don't get me wrong, right? I love this house, and I do feel quite blessed that, you know, I am the you know, I've got like a big house and stuff. Like, not many people live in a big house. Like around here, there are a couple of big houses around here, but this is the biggest. Still, those people are obviously rich though, because they've got like statues and all sorts of things in their garden, like proper manicured lawn and big cars and everything. Like, if you look closely to this house, you can see we're not really rich because the house is like virtually falling apart. But it's a really nice house and everything, and I do feel blessed and all. But as a result of living here in this big house, as much as I love it, I've had to put up with people probably being jealous and being cute fluffers. Enjoying watching your content stream on fluffers. Ah, that is cute. I don't think I've got any new fluffers. I've got some new drawings to show you later. I'll probably do that on a separate stream or video though, because this stream's about this particular subject, so yeah. Didn't want to make this one too long, but it's turning out to be an hour-long video. I suppose I'd better make dinner now. Yeah, I don't know why that these people, because they used to, I guess, kind of like, even if they disliked my mum, they kind of sort of liked me. But now they don't even like me. They're treating me like a fucking social pariah now. And another thing is, if you don't like me for whatever reason, unjustifiably, of course, just stay away from me. Don't give me problems. Don't report me for things. Don't harass me in the street. Just stay the fuck away from me if you don't like me. I don't give a shit if you all don't like me. That's not what I have a problem with. I have a problem with people making both mine and my mum's lives hell all these years, to the point where my mum got so stressed that she's now got ample health problems. She's disabled as a result. Because since all this stuff happened, her health has just deteriorated from all the stress. And don't forget, my mum had loads of problems and stress before the kids started harassing us. And the people around here started reporting us for this, that and the other, and here, there and everything. You know, that added to it. But my mum was abused before this. She was abused by her parents. She was abused by every boyfriend and husband she had. Not that many, by the way, but the ones she did have. Bosses. All that. She was treated badly. Friends, so-called friends. She was treated badly by so many people throughout her life. Childhood, teenagehood, 20s. She said her 30s were the best years of her life. So I'm presuming she didn't get treated so much like crap in that time. I don't know. But, yeah. And of course, my dad was one of them. My dad can't get upset about this because, nobody knows who he is. But he's another one who's not happy about being recorded, probably for this reason. Because he's afraid of being called out for his bullshit. But oh well, like I say, it's his own fault. He shouldn't do bad things. Otherwise you get called out for it eventually. It's not like I'm even saying what it is. So he can't be upset with me anyway. But just saying, my mum's been treated like crap all these years. And now since I've sort of gotten older, I've also taken the brunt of it too. So of course it affects me whenever people were harassing my mum and reporting my mum for things. I still took the brunt of it. Because I had to deal with a stressful environment as a result. And then, of course, people start treating me like shit, so it's like my mum's passed the fucking baton to me. So now I get treated like shit by people. And these people need to understand that all this stress put on from people causes people's health to deteriorate, and that's not right. Yeah, leave other people alone. I don't have a problem with you people not liking me. That's fine. I don't like you either. But, do I come to your houses and harass you? Do I get all my mates to come and storm your houses and wreck your property and spit on you and throw shit at you and threaten to kill your dog, which you all did? Even those people who so-called were concerned about our dogs threatened to fucking kill the dogs. The very dogs that they are reporting us for abuse for, they threatened to kill. That fucking idiot that came to harass us all the time said, I'm going to kill your dog, I'm going to slash its neck, slash its throat, I'm going to break its neck, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, these are the idiots that, report us for dog abuse or neglect. It's like, well, what you're doing is worse.
But we have fair heating on, please. It's absolutely, no wonder you're having problems. It's bloody freezing.
It is.
When you walk, we're down to 2
See you later.
thingy. Camera. 2 things. Why, dinner on?